Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Get Up with Garret. Garret Bedrin is a third generation of 70-year-old family business with entrepreneurship in his roots and blood. His family business manages over 2 million square feet of commercial real estate with shopping centers and apartments in 6 states. Garret has also been in the franchise business for 8 years and has worked for 3 professional sports teams. His passion about health and wellness and helping other people grow their business is unmatched. So, without further ado, welcome to another episode of Get Up with Garret with your host, Garret Bedrin.
Dougie Bricks.
Yes. How are you?
Thanks, buddy. Good to see you. You look well rested from your trip to the beach.
Absolutely.
Right?
I love the beach, which is great. This is a perfect episode to talk about the beach.
Episode
but yes.
for the beach lover.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us on episode 3. I'm going to rename the show instead of Get Up with Garret. It's Go Back to Bed with Garret. Anybody who lives in Bergen County, and I'm sure our guest later today can attest to this. Everybody was woken up at 3 a.m.
Yes.
By a tornado warning and some type of crazy weather. Mm-hmm. And I did learn a couple hours later, you can go on your phone and quiet this thing. But this is the government really kind of just playing Big Brother. And absolutely at 3 a.m. at 3:30. So I don't mind getting up at 4:30 for Orange Theory. But if it's my day off and I'm not supposed to get up, yes. I don't really appreciate that. Like, remember Daisy, my pandemic puppy?
Yes.
She woke me up Wednesday on my non-gym day at 4 o'clock. So that's even earlier than
no
the typical
sleep allowed
typical
in the bedroom household.
I really didn't appreciate that. But some exciting things going on, in the economy. I just want to mention, I'm just blown away with what's going on with retail sales. Everyone's numbers are strong. I mean, I thought there would be this huge pullback in apparel. And it used to be that service was really leading the charge. But we are seeing companies like Macy's and Kohl's, Target, Walmart continue to hit it out of the park and post great numbers. And it's almost like there's this return to the retail store, return to shopping, return to experiences that, the pent-up demand can't be held back by this Delta variant. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you want all your friends to be safe and healthy. That goes without saying. But people want to be out and doing things and spending money. And I'm just blown away by what I saw today, especially with Macy's. That's not a company that I thought was like this huge future, big retailer that, I imagine Macy's kind of starting to scale back. Mm-hmm. But Amazon announced that they're going to start opening up larger stores. So they're going to test 2 30,000 square foot boxes as kind of mini Amazon department stores. Uh-huh. They're starting in Ohio and in, I think I read in California. So blending, taking the world's largest online retailer, half of online sales come from Amazon. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. So the fact that they now, they bought Whole Foods, they've obviously invested in a lot of companies, but they're opening up Amazon grocery stores. And now to go to an Amazon department store, it just makes you scratch your head. For all the people that said retail was dead, or dying, mm-hmm. You're wrong. I'm sorry. It's not. It's changing. Right. And through other generations, things change and we adapt. And we'll certainly talk about that a lot in the podcast. But so that was something really exciting to see.
I got a fun fact for you.
Yes, please give me one.
Fun fact.
Drop one in there.
Every single Macy's commercial you've seen in the last 15 years, I've been on set for.
You're kidding.
Yes. No, I'm an AD. So basically I would deal with talent and, bring the model from the green room to the set, tell her what they had to do. The director just sits back in his chair and he's like, yeah, dude, like tell her to do this. So every Macy's commercial. Another fun fact, we want to remind you, we are live on Facebook. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube and Instagram. And we also want to remind you, we want to make this as interactive as possible. So if you put a question in the comments section, we can answer it live. And I actually have a question for you.
Wow, that was quick.
Yes. Okay. So first question. So we're in a pandemic, right? We're all aware of this. So you would think that people would be saving money and hoarding it for emergency circumstances. Why do you think all this money is being spent and all these people are spending whatever their pandemic money or their unemployment money? Wouldn't you think they would want to save it for a rainy day or for an emergency?
So it's a good question. And I think there's a couple ways to answer that. First of all, we used to be a very low savings economy. A lot of people did not save money for a rainy day. And so you were forced to be home, to be locked up in quarantine. You were saving on commuting. You were saving on your latte in New York City, or your expensive lunch, or, expensive clothing. So people started to ultimately build up this savings account, and it was starting to blow, kind of a hole in their pocket, right? Just what do I do with the money? And then you've got a group of people that were actually getting extra unemployment dollars from the government, whether it's the local government, the federal government, stimulus checks that they had never gotten before. And so those were piling up. And so now you've got, this wad of cash, and you're like, what do I do? And I think you're seeing this desire to be together. And so it's that shared experiences. It's going out to dinner together. It's going to work out at a class together. It's going shopping together and hanging out at the fountains outside the mall and meeting up with your friends. So I think people have really started to focus again on, we lost so much time, and we don't have that much time left if you look at the grand scheme of things, right? I mean, I'm young, you're young, but in reality, our days, our weeks, our Saturdays, our Sundays are numbered, right? If you look at it that way. And so I think people have kind of looked at it and said, life is precious. I always say that's why they call it the present each day, right? Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't be so, anxious about tomorrow. Don't be so depressed about yesterday. Focus on today, because today's a gift. That's why they call it the present, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think a lot of young people have realized, and a lot of older people have realized, hey, you know what? We're not going to do it anymore. I want to be back with my friends. So I think that's where it comes from.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
We have our first comment, just so we'll put that up. Mitch says, lowest saving rate still in all developed countries, sadly.
Yes.
So, yes.
So people are not savings. And by the way, interest rates are historically very low as well. So, if you are thinking about a bigger purchase like a house or a car, it may be more affordable than it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago. So I would ask you, how do we go live on all these places at once? I mean, that just seems so crazy to me.
Yeah, modern technology.
How could Get Up with Garret be in so many places at once? I mean,
Yes.
that's crazy. So the other thing I wanted to just mention early on was, so, we've talked about setting your goals and following up and having accountability. And, for me, it's that morning routine and getting up early and kind of getting ahead of my day. And some people have written into the show, because we do have a new email address, right?
Yes.
Is
let's
it
pull it up.
Get Up? I'm putting you on the spot, but it's
Yes.
Get Up with Garret Show
Yes.
at gmail.com.
I have the old one. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Get Up.
So if you have questions for the show, or if you'd like to be featured on the show, or be sponsorship, or just want to throw in a question, obviously we're live on all those different channels. But one of the questions that came in was, do you really, make a fitness difference by getting up early? And so I don't know if you have a second, but you can bring up the Orange Theory.
I got the email first. There you go.
What do you got? There it is. Get Up with Garret at gmail.com. Okay. So that's the show's email. Feel free to send in any questions, comments,
Absolutely.
And we can take a look at that. So I wanted just to tell you about this rowing challenge that we did in Orange Theory in Montvale. It's a 500-meter row. To be honest, I have no idea how long that is. I don't know meters. I guess I know feet and miles. But I did this rowing challenge, I guess, probably pre-COVID, right?
Yep.
And I ended up, I don't know, getting somewhere like a little over a minute and a half in that 500 meters. But over time, I ended up doing better and better and better. So you can, if you want to share that, I think I ended up getting like a minute 25.77. Is that it?
Yeah. It somehow disappeared on me. I got it though.
There you go.
We're quick.
But the point is that you can look at it and see the history over the past couple of years, how we've taken it from, what does it say, a minute 30 to a minute 27 to a minute 25. So that's a small little, goal that I've been setting, trying to get better on the rower. When you go to Orange Theory, you have a choice. You can start on the floor, you can start in the rower, you can start on the weights, the treadmill. And I always said, I thought I was horrible at rowing. And I said to myself, I want to get better at rowing. And so when you want to get better at something like that, you don't run away and hide from it. You attack it, right? So now I started on the rower, where I was the freshest, had the most energy, and listened to the instructors and the coaches. And there's the improvement.
Nice.
Now, that would have been top 3 of my age group if there weren't a few beasts that are just killers in my age group. But I would have, if I was 20 to 29 or 30 to 39, I would have been top 3 in the area with that time. So I was excited about that.
Nice.
The other cool thing I wanted to mention is preseason football got started. I don't know. I mean, the Giants and Jets kind of looked pretty sloppy, Doug.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a Giants fan or Jets fan?
So I'm a little bit of both. I feel like it's one of the only we live in the only area in the country where you can kind of be both the Giants and the Jets fan. Some people, think otherwise, but I know, like, I went to school in Maryland. You can't be a Ravens fan and a Redskins fan, or
With
Washington football team,
Club, right?
Football club. I like that better.
Football club, I think,
Football
right?
club. So you can't. They hate each other. Buffalo is a New York team, but it's way up there, so it's like out of the way. But like, I feel like this is one of the only areas where you can be a Giants and Jets fan. They get along, if you will.
Yeah, well, they share the stadium too.
Yeah, true.
And I mean, I think look, the Giants, no offense to any Jet fans out there, but I mean, the Giants are kind of at a level in terms of respect, professionalism. Historically, they're one of the founding franchises. I think it was Wellington Mara's dad, I want to say Tim Mara, founded it in 1925, and it cost $20,000 or something. And they're a family business. I mean, they partnered with the Tisch family from Lowe's Hotels, and it's just been a great kind of a great joint venture for now, I guess, probably 30 years. But yeah, I mean, the Jets and Giants share MetLife Stadium. They do a lot of programs together. So us Giant fans, like, we don't really look down so much at the Jets. They're just kind of like there because they've had probably 2 good seasons, in the past.
In the history?
Well, in the past 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 41. I've seen 4 Super Bowl victories for the Giants. So in that time frame,
great Super Bowl, incredible games.
And one loss. But for the Jets, like, those fans, if you're 30 to 40 as a Jet fan, you've seen 2 AFC Championship losses. That's it. No Super Bowls. So
you want another fun fact?
Okay.
So before COVID, this is like 2 years ago, we were talking to the Jets organization. They were going to do this big official Jets tailgate. And my landlord's got a company called Entertainment on Wheels. They have old bouncy houses, video games, basketball hoops, you name it, con candy. And I have another restaurant, and I have a restaurant which Favali's that we're going to help us out. So we were going to put together the official Jets tailgate. It would be like a corner for the official Jets tailgate with all our toys, and it was all going to be great. So we have it set up the week before, like, everything's set up and in. We're in. 3 days before Sunday's game, Sam Darnold gets mono. And this is like Sam Darnold's supposed to be like leading the charge, and like, we're about to be good now. So like, they wanted to like lead this in and have this tailgate and everything. So like, you know what? Sam's got mono. Let's put this off 2 or 3 weeks. Then the Jets started losing the whole season. So then that kind of like, we were like, you know what? We'll hold off. We're about to do it again. Start off the season strong.
Right.
COVID hits, knocks everything out. So we're going to reach out to him again. Hopefully we can pull this off, but we'll be the official tailgate of the Jets, and you're more than welcome to come to those tailgates. Yes,
thank you. And
absolutely.
I want to plug a future episode, because I have a good friend of mine, David Lenter, who owns a company called, I want to say it's called Game Day I'm going to screw this up, but Game Day Tailgater.
Nice.
If he's watching, maybe he'll type in, but would love to have him on the show when football season starts and talk about that from the business side, what it's like to throw a tailgate party.
I think I saw him. So I was when they reached out to me, I was like researching what are other people doing.
Right.
So like, if I remember correctly, what they do is like, you pay a fee for the day, and it's all you can drink, or you can eat, and they have like a roped off section.
Party.
Which is awesome.
It's a VIP party.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's great.
So,
but you can't beat football season. It's great.
No, I can't wait. I mean, it's very hard to get up for preseason. I mean, it's like they're not playing the star players, but you're hoping, everyone obviously stays safe, doesn't get hurt. And then you're kind of rooting for that rookie, or, that guy who's undrafted, and maybe he gets a shot at being the last guy on the bench. But I don't take the wins and losses seriously. I mean, you just can't. But the Giants will kick off. I think it's September 12th is their opening game. And I'm really excited about October. What is it? No, it's September. I think I want to say September 26th. They're going to retire Eli Manning's jersey.
Nice.
So that's exciting. I'll be there with some friends. And
one good thing we did for that guy. I'm not happy how we parted ways. I was a big Eli fan, but at least we can retire his jersey.
Absolutely. He's been nothing but a champion and a professional. And they always say once a giant, always a giant. But for Eli, it was only a giant. He'd never thought about leaving the organization. Yeah. And I just I personally can't wait to see him get into the Hall of Fame. I think it'll take some time. I don't think it'll be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
But I think I think his numbers will stack up. I really do.
He's Brady killer. He's the Brady killer.
Yes.
Those are some great games. Those Super Bowls were great Super Bowls.
And did you see Tom Brady at the Hall of Fame speech for Peyton Manning, by the way? He was at the induction. And I mean, just first of all, he's made every woman jealous, in love for years. But the guys are now, I think the guys are super jealous. He's 44. He looks about 24.
Yeah.
He's incredible, best shape of his life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he is just not stopping.
Yeah, the TB12, whatever he's got.
I'd love to know about, what his secrets of success are. The TB12,
the TB12,
the wheatgrass. I mean, is he getting up at 2 a.m? Do we have to adjust the alarm clock? We'd love to have you, Tom Brady, on the show. But in all seriousness, I'm thrilled. I'd love to give a heads up to our guest today. You talk about life's a beach, right? And how much everybody loves kind of going to the beach. And you think about historically through time, families have always migrated in the summer to the beach. And I think more than ever now, going through this pandemic, the outside lifestyle has kind of been brought to the forefront. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to bring on a fantastic guest, a great friend, someone who's been supportive of my friends and family, my charities, Adam Tesser from a company called Ostrich Chairs, to tell us kind of the secrets to his success and how he's developed this incredible product, and kind of the story behind him. So I want to see if Adam's available. Adam, are you in the green room?
I am.
He's here.
Am I out of the green room? I think I'm out of the green room. Right? We're out of the green room. It was beautiful back there.
Did you enjoy the caviar?
I enjoyed the caviar very much. Thank you. The champagne, the caviar, got a little buzz on.
There we go. Adam's still waiting for the limo to show up. The Get Up with Garret budget is limited in the early days. But Adam, I appreciate you coming on. You're definitely a guy who loves the beach, loves to be outside with your family, your beautiful wife and your girls who we've known for a long time. So when you think about, Hamilton, right? There's this famous line in Hamilton where they say, who lives, who dies, who tells your story. So I want to start with Adam telling us your story. I know you went to Richmond, you love the spiders, but, being in the beach industry and the outside kind of outdoor lifestyle industry, that was really not the game plan for you. No. So take us through kind of, what happened after school, where you went to.
So I started my career at Bloomberg. I don't even know if you're aware of that, but I started at Bloomberg. I interned there. I think I was like employee 200 or something like that. Talk about an entrepreneur. It was small. They just had the office in Skillman, New Jersey, where I worked. And then they had the New York City office at the time. That was it. They had maybe just opened like a little satellite place in London with like 10 people. So I worked there. I interned there for 2 summers. And then when I was a senior in college, they reached out to me actually and offered me a job. So that was easy. I accepted that job. I worked there from 96 till 99. And I started in Princeton, quickly moved to New York, where I was selling their fixed income trading system. That was starting to get, at that time, Bloomberg was starting to become a very big company with a lot of bureaucracy, in my opinion. And with my entrepreneurial spirit, it was not really conducive. I didn't want to be a cog in a big company. So I left that, started working with a friend of mine at a little boutique venture capital place. Timing was not perfect for that, right as that .com bubble burst. So I did that for like 9 months. Then I got a job trading crude oil options. I was trading crude oil and heating and natural gas options, which was a lot of fun. I was young. I was 25, and it was a lot of fun. And I did that. And then that started, I started there trading electricity, which was not as fun. It was very slow. It was very slow. It was very weird. So it was a pit. I don't know if you're aware of how it works, but we worked in pits. It was like physical.
Sure.
The electricity pit was like 8 guys. And the hours it was open were, no joke, 10:30 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. So this was after 9/11, obviously, a couple of years after 9/11. And I used to get to work at 9:30 and I'd be home by 2:15.
Wow. What a day.
which was great, but it was very slow. I mean, literally, there was very little liquidity. We'd sit there and we'd like it was bad. And this is around the time, now I'm around my late 20s, and my friend who I've known since 6th grade, I'm at his 30th birthday party, and he comes up to me and said, I got this idea. You know, he's pretty creative, but you know, he's not, as far as numbers and business acumen, it wasn't really his forte was creating. So he had this idea. He showed me a little rudimentary drawing. He said he'd filed for a patent and he had a couple $1,000s into it. Right. What did I think? And I said, and I was, bored. I was bored, and I saw this as a great opportunity. And I said, you know what? I think we can make something of this. I'll sort of, run the business to a degree. You'll work on the designs and stuff, and we'll go from there. And so I basically matched the small amount of money he put in, and we worked on the patent. We got the patent done. We incorporated in 2004. Our company name is actually Deltess, Deltess, which is a combination of our two last names. Ostrich is the brand. And gotcha. And so we incorporated in 2004. Then we got our first, we did everything. We didn't know what we were doing. I mean, and that's very common with entrepreneurs.
Trial and error, right?
Right. Trial and error. Like when you sort of branched out from your family business a little bit, I'm sure there's a bit of a learning curve.
Well, I know about the hair business. Right?
Exactly. So we didn't really know what we were doing. We found a manufacturer online in China. We flew out there sight unseen. We're picked up. I mean, we flew. Where did we fly? We flew to Hong Kong. From Hong Kong, we flew to a city called Huangzhou. Didn't know a thing. Guy shows up, waves his hand, has our names on it. We get in a car. We drive 5 hours through rice paddies to this factory. and then I remember, so we had all this pricing negotiated. We had one chair at this time. We had one model, which we designed. Basically, we hired an engineer, which we found in the yellow pages.
Oh my God!
Designed a little hinge for us.
Do people know what the yellow, like, was this a physical book, Doug?
Yellow
Adam,
pages.
Opened?
This is
like
2004. 2004.
Yes.
Yellow pages.
This was an awesome story.
I'm
taking notes.
He's going
I gotta
too
go to
fast.
the yellow pages.
Adam, we have to unpack this, and don't forget, I want to know about the Bloomberg cafeteria, because Jessica, my wife, said she looked at working there at one point, and they had an incredible cafeteria.
Did she work in the Skillman office or the print or the New York?
It was
the Skillman office. They made food. The New York office, it was just a bunch of chips and cans of tuna. In the Skillman office, they had like hot breakfast, hot lunch.
They have this amazing cafeteria, right?
And it was all free. That was perfect.
Okay, so that's funny. So here's what I want to, but let's go back. So when it's Dave, your partner, right?
Dave,
buddy.
Yep.
So when Dave showed you the sketch, right?
Yep.
What problem was Dave solving? Because it sounds like Dave had been thinking about this. I mean, obviously this was new to you. This was the first time you saw it. This was the first time I saw it.
So Dave had his honeymoon. He cruised on his honeymoon.
Okay. He was a cruiser.
And yes, I've never been on a cruise, but Dave's a cruiser. So Dave was on a cruise on his honeymoon, which was probably a year earlier. And he was having trouble getting comfortable trying to tan his back on his stomach.
That's what it was, tanning the back.
He was trying to tan, and he was hurting his neck. And his brother happens to be a chiropractor. So that's good. Yeah. So his brother happens to be a chiropractor. So he was thinking, and he's like, when I get a massage, I lie on my stomach. And I think he had gotten a massage on the cruise. And he's like, wow, I can lie here on my stomach all day and not have any neck pain. So that was the idea. So if you've seen our chair, the cushions pop up just like you're lying on your stomach on that little piece on the massage chair. So that was the problem. The problem was just trying to be comfortable. And then when we thought about it, when you're lying on your stomach, not everyone just got their eyes closed. So when we thought about it, we thought, we'll put armholes in it So it'll be very easy to put your arms underneath. So you can, at the time we were just thinking about, reading a magazine or reading a book, because we weren't thinking about iPhones and iPads, really. I mean, when did the iPhone even come out? I don't even think it was out yet in 2004.
Probably
It was
06,
07.
07.
Yeah. So there was no iPhone. I mean, the closest thing you had was like a BlackBerry.
So is this, Adam, is this the, for the viewers that are watching on YouTube or Facebook,
Okay.
is this the chair that
So
started all? Is this the basic bread and butter?
Yes, this is we call it the original Ostrich 3-in-1 chair. We made a couple changes to it since the original version, like that pillow that you're seeing on the, flips over. If you see that.
Sure. Yep, I do.
That wasn't there. It was just a piece of fabric. It initially was just a piece of fabric that would Velcro on and flip over. So we did that. And that, I mean, really, that's the only change we've made to that chair. Also, the face cushion now sort of pops up. It used to flip up one piece at a time with Velcro. I mean, we designed this ourselves, really, Dave, for the most part, but pretty much ourselves. And our first iteration of it, our mock, was his mother sewed it.
Right. Incredible.
So getting back to going to China, so we fly to China.
So who thought you were crazy when you said we're flying? Like, you Googled or went to the yellow pages for this manufacturer in China, right?
So honestly, most people thought it would be like a nice side hustle. Maybe, make a few bucks out of it. You're never going to quit your job.
Nobody thought,
if you're making $20,000, $25,000 a year, that's incredible. That was back when I was in my, 28, 29.
Yeah.
That sounded pretty good.
That's a lot of money.
That sounded pretty good.
Of course. That's absolutely.
Right. So what happens is,
at this point, you didn't have a huge financial risk yet. I mean, the tickets to China were probably one of the biggest expenses you had.
Our biggest expense was the patent. That was
the patent lawyer.
Patent was expensive.
Okay.
But by the way, the patent attorney we found in the yellow pages also a little South Jersey guy. Everything.
So when people say, Dougie, like, I'm afraid to get started. I need $1 million. I need a lawyer. I need a loan. I need this. I need that. You get to this like analysis paralysis world where you just get blocked.
Yeah.
Just go out there and go.
100%.
Adam was not an engineer. He was not the creative art director. He had no experience in outdoors and beach lifestyle. He wasn't going to volleyball tournaments his whole life. Yeah. He wasn't a chiropractor, although they said they had a family friend who was. But they just kind of got started, right? And adjusted and learned along the way. Right. So, all right, I'll let him pick up. So, sorry. So you were headed to China.
Fly to China. By the way, the reason why we chose this factory was because the person that was emailing us spoke relatively good English, and got back to us very quickly. His name was, I don't know if you're aware, but everyone in China has an Americanized name. That's not their real name. They have two names. Gotcha. They've got their name and the name that they tell us. So his name was Helen. And by the way, these are legal names.
His name was Helen.
Yes, his name is Helen. And these are legal names. So that's his legal, Americanized name. And he's aware that it is feminine.
We actually have that, Adam, we have that a lot in our commercial real estate portfolio with different Chinese, Japanese restaurants and different tenants where there is an American name, David, and then you look at the lease and you see, and then it's a totally different name. Exactly. And they go, absolutely. So I understand that. So that makes sense.
So we should we make like Chinese names?
Eventually.
Now, well, but for Garret, it's very tough because my Spanish name for many years in school was like Chico or Alfonso. Yeah. There was no Garret translation.
Same here. There's no translation for Doug. They would call me Domingo, which is Sunday in Spanish.
Trust me, these names have nothing to do with each other. His real name is Cheng Fei.
Cheng Fei.
I think Cheng Fei sounds like Helen.
I don't want to know how they came up with Helen. I mean, that's hysterical.
So we get picked up.
Yeah.
And we drive to the factory, and the factory owner doesn't speak a word of English, not one word. Oh, he just sits in it was almost like, we were sitting in chairs that were 2 feet lower than his. That was the kind of vibe it was in his office, where, we were these peons and he was this big factory owner. So we had negotiated all this pricing. They'd already begun production on our chairs. We'd already paid for 30% of the order.
Wow.
Which was one container, which was like 800 chairs. So we go there and they tried to bait and switch us. They're like, oh yeah. That's not the real price. This is the real price. I'm not going to get into what the price was. And I'm sitting there.
No, of course.
I'm sitting there and I'm like with a calculator going over every part in the thing. So this screw is 3 cents. This piece of wood's 18 cents. And this, that, and the other. I'm like, and I showed, how do you get to this dollar price? And the owner's just like, this is what it is. So at the end of the day, we basically said, forget it. And we were like going to walk. We weren't, and
no deal.
No deal.
Like no deal. No
we were
deal.
basically,
they figured you'd travel all this way that you're like, all right, fine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, so we were like, no deal. Now, this was where I started earning my keep, and Dave was, because he gets very nervous about that sort of stuff, and he's a little quicker than I am to agree to things. A lot quicker than I am to agree to things. So
yes, it took me 5 times to ask you to come on the show.
That's not true. That's
not true. It was just 2.
Just 2. So and it was a bit of a bluff on my part. We were pretty deep into it at this point, but we negotiated it and we got somewhere in the middle. We agreed to it. We get our first run of chairs August 2005, which is the season's basically over.
Adam, but did you actually leave the meeting, like leave the car dealer and go home and then?
Oh, no.
2 weeks, or
this was all done before. This was all done within a day.
Okay, gotcha.
This was all done within a day. We were there for a week.
Gotcha.
And really we can get into the different things we did when there. That's a different conversation.
Gotcha.
But so we finally agree on a price, and we leave, and this is June. So the chairs ship a few weeks later in July. They come in August. We have
pretty quick.
We don't have we don't have a warehouse.
Right.
We don't
have real estate.
Thanks.
You could have, had you known me, I could have helped you with that.
We had pre-sold like 150 of them to this distributor who's down in LBI, and another 150 of them to this website, which is no longer in existence, called, oh God, what was it called? It doesn't matter. It was an Israeli guy who bought 150 chairs. So now we basically have about 550 chairs. 40, I don't know if you've ever seen a 40-foot high cube container before.
Well, I know a basic container. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the standard?
This container goes to Dave's house.
Oh my God.
in Hopewell. And we have 2 hours to unload it, or they start charging us like $80 an hour, and we're freaking out. So me, Dave's brother, and Dave's brother-in-law start unloading these boxes, and they're like 40 pounds a box, and we're unloading box after box after box. And then we rented a U-Haul, he and I, and we left probably about 100 chairs in his garage. Mm-hmm. We fill the U-Haul. We drive to LBI, where his parents had a house, leave about 80 chairs there, and we just start walking from store to store, asking if they'll buy them.
You're kidding.
No, we sold about 50 that day.
These are those little, beachfront kind of little stores, sports stores.
Yeah, we walked into a store called Wave Hog. I remember them because the guy just handed me cash, and he's like, "Here you go," and he bought like 9 of them. We were like pumped.
Wow.
So we walked into these stores. We sold like 50 of them, and then we went to Spring Lake, where Dave's in-laws have a bed and breakfast. We dropped off another 50 in their basement, and did the same thing. and sold about another 30 or 40. And I cold called, but this is back when Amazon was just selling books.
Right.
So there was a lot of there was forthebeach.com, beachstore.com, Beach Mall. Beach Store was the one that bought 150. And I just started cold calling all of these places and asking them what they thought and they said, yeah, we'll put it on our website. No problem. So Dave was doing all the fulfillment out of his garage. So we'd get a sale, they'd email us that we had a sale. Dave would print a shipping label, load a box, drive to FedEx, and ship it.
One at a time, two at a time.
And he would do it one at a time. And
how big is this garage? I mean, these chairs aren't like the size of a cell phone.
So
they must have been stacked to the ceiling of chairs.
He had a 2-car garage, and he couldn't keep either car in it, and it was just filled with beach chairs. And when we'd run low, we would rent a U-Haul, and we'd go pick up other ones that were in LBI and Spring Lake and bring them back. So then what happens is this is where the business sort of shifted.
Sure.
Dave and I had full-time jobs.
Yes.
Dave worked in telecom from home. I think he worked home 4 days a week. I worked on the floor of the Mercantile Exchange, and I was working at this time probably from 9 to 1. So no one really knew we had jobs. And because I would get up in the morning at 7, send a few emails, maybe get on the phone. I'd leave. I lived in Hoboken. Work was 15 minutes away. I just took the ferry across the river. I'd leave at 8:30, and I'd be home by 1:30. So no one.
A lot of day left.
A lot of day left, exactly.
Yeah.
So I would come home while all my friends from the Merc would go get a drink. I would go back to my apartment, and I'd work till 6 or 7 at night because I was dealing with people on the West Coast too. No one really knew I had a job, and Dave would barely do anything with his telecom job, so no one really knew he had a job either. But at that point we hired we partnered with these guys. We sort of licensed out the patent. Right. And it was a too good to be true deal. At the same time, some producer from Good Morning America saw it.
You're kidding.
No, he takes the chair and he puts it on Good Morning America. And Charlie Gibson says on the air, "This is the greatest beach chair I've ever seen."
Oh, that's your tipping point.
Boom.
When he did that, every website went crazy. We took all these orders. This was also before the whole 2-day free shipping thing. So
this is still your first year of business, right?
This is spring 2006.
Okay.
So we got them in August 2005. This is April 2006, before the season starts.
Right.
So we basically probably had 300-400 shares left, and they sold out that day.
Oh, incredible.
And we call up all these websites and we say, take it down. Right. We're sold out. Take it down. We'll have them shipped by Monday. This is Tuesday or Wednesday. We said, well, they'll all be shipped by Monday. So now I'm part of the fulfillment team.
Right.
I go down to Dave's house on Saturday morning, and we are just boxing chair after chair, putting label on chair after chair, and we ship them out. And I call up all these people and I say, okay, we're out of the dropship business. We need an order. So we get all these orders, and that's how we started. And then we sort of, things went sideways with the licensing team. And by 2009, we're making money. And so this is 2006. By 2009, we're making decent money.
Adam, I would say the average kind of entrepreneur who's opening a small business, it's going to be at least 3 years, 2 to 3 years, we say, especially in the retail kind of shopping center world I'm in, to make anything.
That's right.
So to be able to be
the stat is 90% of businesses fail in the first 3 years or something like that.
That's right.
5 years.
So
I bet you a big percentage of that 90% fail in the first year.
That's right.
Undercapitalized and
so
just don't have the resources.
The good news is we grew slowly, so we never really had to. We never overstepped. We never overstepped what we could do, and so we were always able to self-finance everything. And then in 2009, we started to make some decent money 2012, I stopped working on the floor, started doing it full time. Dave left his job the following September. So September 2013. And then that's it. We've been doing this full time since.
All right, so let's pause. Let's
Yeah,
unpack a few
yeah.
things. There's a lot in there.
I got a
There's
quick
lots to
one.
Go
unpack.
ahead.
So this is like 2006 is like your first year shipping out. I'm sure shipping each chair individually, FedEx took a chunk of your profits, right? You don't have to go into the numbers and stuff.
No, we didn't pay
before
for that.
This is before Prime, where you get 2-day delivery. I'm sure.
Did the customer pay for shipping?
No. The retailer paid for it. We would use their shipping account. We weren't paying for that.
Got it.
Only if someone bought it from our website would we pay the shipping. And we were getting like 10 views a year.
Gotcha. But what I really found interesting, Dougie, from this story, from Adam is he kind of, I don't know, maybe the word is bootstrapped.
Yeah.
Like
so.
He wasn't too, he had a great job in the mercantile. He had a great job at Bloomberg. He had a great job. I mean, selling, oil commodity, all these different things, right? And was making good money and was happy, but he didn't feel like he had this big ego where he was too cool to go door to door. Like Mark Cuban sold knives door to door, like with Cutco, I think is a story. And a lot of great entrepreneurs and sales, people throughout history, went and knocked on doors. Now we're in a little bit of a different time. If you knocked on my door now, I'd be like, what are you doing here? And, don't, put your mask on before you knock. But I really appreciate that, Adam, that story, how you went to the local beach stores and knocked on the door. And you also weren't afraid to solicit, kind of their feedback and include them in the process and say, like, here's what I got. It takes a lot. And you're also, I was so impressed with the fact that you just kind of kept going with it as if you didn't know any better, whether it was the yellow pages or you weren't afraid. I mean, the fact that you went to China, a lot of people now have like a company that kind of sets them up with a pre-relationship. Like it's kind of like a broker per se, right? And they represent them, right?
So we looked into that.
Yeah.
And I remember, so we met this guy, I think he was like in Newark or something. And he was like, yeah, we'll take care of all of it. You'll pay us. But the pricing, I didn't want to do it.
The middleman.
It was a middleman, and they were taking a lot of money. It was a lot of money. And
the other
thing, we had a price point in mind for what this chair could retail for, and that was going to make it be too much.
So two other things that really jumped out at me from Adam. One is you've got to know your numbers, right? So, Adam needs to know that screw is 2 cents and not 4 cents, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like at Starbucks, you've got, the cup and you got the straw and you've got the foam and you've got the milk as you're drinking your Starbucks.
I don't think the foam costs extra.
The ice.
Cheers.
Right? You've got to know each piece of that, and you've got to know it cold. And that was one of Adam's strengths, amongst negotiating and obviously a lot of other things. But what I really love is that Adam's partnership with his friend Dave, they were very upfront with each other, understanding that they had different strengths, right? Dave was not the guy who was going to be the hardcore negotiator, who was willing to literally walk away from the table, even though they spent thousands of dollars flying to China. And Dave was more on the creative side. And Adam said, look, I can take up this part. And so it's very important in a partnership to work with someone where you have different strengths and different weaknesses. And, they say, someone's out there catching the fish and someone's out there cleaning the fish. And that's super important to always remember in starting a new business. You can't do it, you just can't. Look, some people can do it on their own, Adam, but you don't have to do it on your own. Most people have done it with support, and most, really strong leaders or entrepreneurs or people that are CEOs of large companies, they're good at what they do because they bring on a great team to help support them.
Right. And I actually give Dave a ton of credit. This was his baby. This was not my baby. This was his baby. And he knows himself, and he knew that while he thought it was a great idea, by the way, we've tried other things that we both thought were great ideas that, if you want some stuff, I got some stuff.
You've got a garage of some stuff too.
I got some stuff that didn't quite make it, but there was a lot of luck involved. It happened to be that our first idea worked, right? Because our fifth idea didn't. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So we got there was definitely some some luck involved, but he knew that. And there, by the way, we've dealt when you do something like we did, we get solicited all the time from inventors all the time. And it's very, some of these inventors, they don't really know how to turn their invention into a profit. They really don't. And I think Dave saw quickly that he needed help to do that. And that's why he came to me. He's identified me as someone that could help him.
But that was smart,
it was very smart.
Obviously you made an impression on him through X amount of years where subconsciously he was thinking that Adam is someone here that can help me take this to the next level. And like, if you ever watch Shark Tank, they'll always say, I want an entrepreneur, not a wantrepreneur. Well, guess what, guys? It's not good enough just to say, oh, I thought of that. If I could tell you how many times someone has come up to me after they've seen my Salons by JC concept, and they say, I had that idea 10 years ago. I say, great.
I had that too.
Right.
I mean, way to execute, bro.
Well, way to step up and sign your name personally on something. Way to put everything out there. And by the way, I didn't create that brand either. So Adam, what I was wondering, could we bring up the website for Ostrich Chairs, and maybe Adam just give us a overview of some of the newer things that he's working on, or some of the things that are coming off of back order? I mean, I'm imagining, Adam, through COVID, I mean, did you have a lot of supply chain issues? Did you get behind on some stuff? Tell us about.
So COVID was interesting. So when COVID hit, we were pretty, there's our homepage. So when COVID hit, we were pretty, I got pretty nervous personally. Okay. I thought, well, they're going to close down the beaches. This is going to be bad. This could be bad. We're not sure what was going to happen. It actually, for us, it was a little bit of the opposite. I'm sure you're aware that the outdoor furniture business took off during COVID. And while we do a small amount of patio, which you can see there on the left and right of that page.
Yep. The chaise loungers over there.
Yeah. So while we do a small amount of patio, our bread and butter is beach, which is less money than patio, and a lot of people were buying our stuff to use in their backyard. So it actually, retail wise, it was great. And the first year of COVID, there wasn't much of an issue. I mean, we did have a bit of a hiccup in China during, after Chinese New Year. It took a long time for them to ramp back up because they were having delays getting workers back. But now there is a real supply chain problem. Right. We don't have much of stuff in stock. We didn't have stuff in stock last year, but that was because we weren't prepared for the amount of sales we were going to get. This year, we were far better prepared for it. However, there's a real supply chain crunch. There is and this is more to do. This has some of it has to do with a labor shortage,
right?
But it has more to do with a trade imbalance.
Gotcha.
So what happened? I'm sure you're aware that there is
take us through that.
Okay, so there's a trade war going on between China and the United States. So under President Trump, he imposed these 25% tariffs, right? Thinking that the U.S. was getting screwed. That was his thing. When in fact those tariffs filter down to the consumer, and the consumer ends up paying more money. It takes some time.
You were showing me. I remember we were at dinner. You were showing me the bill, and
right. So that's happening now. And my chairs are far more expensive retail than they were.
Okay, so can we talk about what's the retail price point for your chairs? I mean, I know there's different.
We're going to go we'll look at our base model, okay, and we'll go off what Amazon's charging for it. So
perfect. Yep.
Last year, our base model was selling on Amazon in the $40 to $45 range. Today it's $68.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I told Dougie 6. He said today, how much is the chair? I gotta have it. I said, Dougie, I think it's $67. I was pretty close.
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely getting one. And that's like the cot that Dougie was looking at.
The original
cot.
One, yep.
Yeah. It's not really a cot, but we do sell a cot now, though, if you're interested in one.
So let me real quick. before we went live, we were talking about how we would have this like tournament and an all day event, and we'd be hanging out between games. I played lacrosse at this war at the shore, right. And I would bring this like pull-out cot with poles and stuff, and I set this whole thing up. Now that I've seen this, I'm getting like 3 of these. This is the best thing ever.
You still play lacrosse on the big tournament?
So this is like, it's not a big tournament. It's like more like a lacrosse reunion,
gotcha.
if you will.
Like
all the old men are there. There's like kegs on the sideline. It's like more of like a fun day than it is an actual tournament, but it's called War at the Shore. But yeah, everyone was like, that cot is amazing. I should have thought of that. But now with these chairs, like when I show up there with the Ostrich Chair,
that's
going to be the hero.
Yes.
So, all right, so 67
so what's going on now?
Original. Yeah.
So what's going on now is, due to that trade war,
yep,
we imposed the 25% tariff. China reacted and imposed their own tariffs on imports from the U.S. Gotcha. So
this all is going to trickle down. It's all going to trickle down to the end consumer. Just like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, also we have a shortage of truck drivers, right? And so that's increasing all products being shipped around too.
Exactly. There's a shortage of labor in the U.S. too. So what happened was with the tariffs, it didn't stop the U.S. from importing. We still are importing as much or more from China than we ever did. So that we're just eating that 25% tariff, passing it on to the consumer. But the Chinese, in contrast, said, no, we're not going to import these things with these tariffs. We're either going to live without it, do it ourselves, or buy it from somebody else. So there is now a container shortage in China because the containers are not going back to China with goods in them. So like it used to be, we would bring these containers here, we'd get them, we'd unload them, they'd go to a manufacturer who'd fill them up with whatever China needed, and they'd go back to China. That's not happening. So there's nothing to load the stuff in. And when that happened, the ocean liner said, well, there's not enough stuff going back and forth. We're going to cut the amount of liners.
Right. It's not worth it for them to run.
It's not worth it for them. So there used to be 3-4 liners a day going from Shanghai. Sorry, 3-4 liners a week going from Shanghai to New York. Now there's 1. And so but the demand didn't go down to get it here. So the price of those ocean liners has skyrocketed because there's no room on them. So what was costing, $3,000-$4,000 to ship on the ocean for a container is now costing $22,000.
Wow.
Right.
I feel like I have to watch that movie with Tom Hanks, Captain Phillips. Right? Yeah. They take over
I am the captain.
I am the captain now.
That's right. That's right.
That's the ship you're talking. I mean,
that's the kind of ship we're talking about.
Right.
So
I have your wait. Let's slow down. Let's unpack some stuff, especially for the people who are trying to understand this. Not me, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So time out. Dumb question of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, at what point? Obviously, we buy things from other countries and bulk because of cost effective. However, they pay for labor, whatever. We don't have to go down that road. But at what point do we think that? Let's direct this to you, Adam. Adam, at what point do you think it'd be better off to make them here?
Sure.
Here's the problem with that. There's a couple problems with that. We are a service nation. That's what we are. We can say we can say bring manufacturing, bring manufacturing back to to a horse. We're not bringing. We can manufacture in this country expensive stuff like cars and dishwashers, maybe even, or whatever. We can't manufacture stuff that's inexpensive because the startup of those factories is a lot, which is fine. If you have enough money, you can build your own factory if you have enough production. But
Elon Musk did it in California, right?
Elon Musk did it for cars.
For cars, exactly.
Those are $100,000. These chairs
coming
top out. These chairs top out at $150.
Gotcha.
And then a huge problem is, just like in the restaurant business, everyone's rather be home collecting unemployment right now than actually do work. So
Well,
you're not
sure.
going
I
to
mean,
find someone to do something.
the minimum wage in China is not $15
Okay.
an hour.
Well,
Like,
that's you know, in order to start something like that, you're dealing with union workers.
sure.
Mhm.
So if you're dealing with union workers, those guys are making $20 an hour. They have benefits.
Yeah.
In China, it's a completely different infrastructure. And I will tell you, it's gotten a lot better from when I started. I mean, when I started, those guys were making nothing. I mean, but they make, you know, $5,000, $10,000 a year, the workers.
Unbelievable.
But they live there. It's communal.
Right.
They live there. They get room and board. They get all their room and board paid for, and they live there. And then they just send the money home. They don't really need. They don't really need the spending money.
They don't
I mean,
spend. Yeah, their lifestyle is not like ours. They're not going out to dinner and the fancy and the whole. It's a whole different.
I mean,
I get that.
They keep some money. That they, you know, I know that they make a lot more money than they used to, and they keep some of the money for themselves, but 80% of their money is going back to their families.
Gotcha.
And so, and it's just completely different. You can't do that here. They used to do that here. They used to build cities around. They used to build towns around the plant, and the people would live there very cheaply. But they haven't done that in this country in 100 years, and they're not going to do it now.
Build the towns around. Yep.
Right,
The
Manville, New Jersey is built around John Manville's plant, and they all live there. And they got the homes cheap, and they lived there for next to nothing, so they could work at the plant for not massive wages. But that infrastructure is gone. You can't build stuff in this country. I can't think of anything that's built in this country that costs less than a few $1,000s.
Incredible.
Yeah, so we don't have to go down that road and how we treat and how they treat whatever. Like, that's a whole nother discussion. More what I'm asking too is, like, what happens if we go to war with China or Japan, whatever, or we cut ties with them? What are we going to do as a country? You know what I mean?
Well, we're tied.
We no longer.
We're tied. We're tied to those countries. This isn't the 1930s and 1940s. This isn't. We're in a global economy.
True.
Absolutely. So, if that happened, and I pray to God it doesn't, but if that happened, you would see a lot of things that you buy gone. If they stopped sending stuff here, you just wouldn't see them anymore.
Absolutely. Adam, are you a lot of entrepreneurs struggle?
And I'd be running to Central America to try to make chairs.
A lot of entrepreneurs struggle with China ripping off their patents. And I mean, is that something that you guys have had to work against and struggle with some of your competition?
Sure.
Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yes, we've been knocked off. We've gone down the litigation road. There is a saying that says, "Don't make a federal case out of it." That is real. It is awfully expensive to do it, but we did it, and we settled. But beyond that, I've seen on factory, like I've looked on Alibaba and stuff, and I've seen our stuff there in factories that we don't use. It's a reality. There's not a ton you can do about it until it comes here, and then you can litigate it. But it's not. We always knew we'd get knocked off. If we were ever successful, we knew we'd get knocked off, and that's just part of the business. And then I
always say, imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah.
All right, you're doing something right.
And then it's a business decision whether you think it's worthwhile to go to litigate it. When we got knocked off a long time ago, and we made a decision not to fight it because we felt they didn't really take our market share, and we frankly didn't have the money to do it. It's a very expensive proposition to litigate these things.
Sure. Especially a fast growing, company.
Right. And
how much of your resources do you want to use to that when you're still in your growth stage?
And all this stuff about like suing for, legal fees and stuff, that's not real. Yeah. I learned that very quickly when I asked the lawyer, and he said, no, that's TV.
That's funny. So Doug, I want to get you prepped for the next part here.
Yeah.
We're going to turn it around. Instead of the parts about being ripped off and that, I want to flip it and say, I want to understand what comes from the notoriety of kind of having viral videos, having TikTok, having Instagram. Obviously, you talked about earlier, kind of one of your early tipping points, Adam, was on Good Morning America when I forgot his name. What was his name again? The anchor?
Charlie Gibson.
Who showed? Okay. Where Charlie showed the chair on Good Morning America. And of course, you've all heard of Oprah's greatest things have just driven people's sales through the roof. But I want to show a couple little clips here, if you don't mind. And then I want to get your feedback on these. And I want to talk about, what this means for you and for your business. Let's start with the one that has the 2.8 million views. I mean, this is just incredible.
I think it's this one.
Yeah, that's it. Let's let her ride.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this
Here we
a few
go.
times.
Literally the best chair I've ever purchased. And it's armholes, so my arms can go through it, and I can go my phone under my little head pillow. And it has a pillow if I want to lay like on my back. Damn, front of me. I can. Worth every cent.
On my back, pillow. How many pillows do you have in this chair? I mean, is it a pillow? Does the pillow have a pillow?
I think she's got. She looks like she has a deluxe 3-in-1 chair, which has a lumbar pillow. Attached to it. It also the footrest is also padded. That for a while that was our most expensive chair. We've now got one that's more. It's funny. I will for the past 5 or 6 years, at least one post has gone viral. It's crazy. It's usually for our ladies comfort lounger. That one happens to be a deluxe chair, but it's usually for the ladies comfort lounger. And it was always on Facebook. And now it's on, and then it was on Instagram, and now it's on TikTok.
Yep. Right, let me see the next one, Dougie. That one. Give me that one. That one's newer, I think.
Oh, I love this one.
Girl, don't do it. It's not worth it. I'm not gonna do it, girl. I'm just thinking about it. I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
I did it.
I did it.
That's my favorite. And I don't think that one's got many views. I found that the other day.
And Adam, you can hear those okay?
Yeah.
I heard the second one better.
Okay.
But yes, that one's good. So a few years ago, the first time it happened, it took everyone by surprise. And I've tried to replicate it. I have paid since what's this one? I don't think I've seen this one.
You know this one? All right, let's see if we got a new one.
Oh no, I've seen this one. This is the one at Walmart.
I wanted the tanning chair, so where are we?
Target, right. I've seen this one. She beats one
After
to
this,
crap.
I want people to vote which one they love the best.
He's opening that incorrectly, by the way.
Yep, this one's just right. Let's get it. I bought this $65 chair that has a head hole, and then when you flip this over, it's a pillow.
There it is. That's the pillow.
Yeah, that one did pretty well too. That one did pretty
She's
well.
under the influence, she said. At least, I just want to have a disclaimer. When you're driving to Target at 11 a.m., you should not be under the influence. Adam wants you to buy every chair possible.
I don't think she was driving.
I believe that one was a COVID purchase last summer, right?
Well,
I think that was the last summer COVID purchase. You notice
one more.
We
have the last one. Well, no, we have one more funny one we found.
Okay.
I just got a package and I've been looking forward to this one so much. Let's go grab it. I'm so excited. Yes. Okay, let's open it up. Okay, I can't even tell you how happy I am about this. I did in fact get the Ostrich Chair. Oh my god, it's perfect. So now when I'm out tanning, I have a face hole. Perfect to watch Netflix. Not only that, but there's an armhole. So you can like be on your bed while you're tanning. So that's where your arms go in your face. When you want to flip, this little cushion just goes over it. I'm very excited to tan by my green pool.
I think I found my new Halloween costume this year, Adam.
Yeah.
If I could put my arms through one of the old broken ones, you don't mind?
Oh yeah.
I can be the chair.
I might be able to help you out because I'm going to the warehouse. I'm going to the warehouse in weeks, and I gotta go through some returns.
Those are amazing. I mean, the last one she actually mentioned you by brand.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, I've got to think, Adam, this is priceless. You couldn't pay for this. You couldn't create
so
this.
I will tell you, and by the way, before I go, I saw one the other day. It was a 3-part saga of this woman looking for one of their chairs.
Like Star Wars.
3 parts. I heard they were at the Target. I went there. They didn't have them. And then And then in the last one, she's got this music in the background, like playing like this triumphant
Like
music.
found
That she
it, like,
has one in her backseat. So I will tell you how priceless it is. I've tried to pay for it, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
The ones that truly go viral are priceless, and they really relate to sales. So when the first time this ever happened, it was with a ladies lounger, and I had never spoken to a buyer at Amazon in my life until, well, I take that back. I had, but not in a while.
Not serious. Yeah.
Not really, only ever at the beginning of a season. And this
Right.
person who was like, he wasn't even the buyer. He was like an in-stock manager, calls me. I was on vacation. I was like I don't even know where I was. I think it was on the road, like working. I was like I was like in a motel or something. I don't know where I was, but he calls me in the middle of the night. I think he was on the West Coast.
Woke you up.
He calls me at like 10 o'clock at night, and he's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Well, this happened," and I showed him the video. It was on Facebook. This was like 5 years ago, and he's like, "That's incredible. We have to put in another order. We're out, and we have nothing planned." So that happens. I honestly, once or twice a year, every year. It's insane.
Can you put a number on it in terms of percentage? Like, can you say to me, a viral video like that, or Facebook, it doesn't matter which one it is, could that spike sales 5% over the next month?
No, it's more. It's more than that, and it's a true spike. When I say that,
true.
like,
you see it.
It's a true spike. You see it, and it's quick. It happens.
It's fleeting.
So it's fleeting. You'll see it, because even though there's 2 million views, those 2 million views probably happened in the span of 10 days.
Gotcha.
Right? No one's finding that anymore. You found it because you searched for it, or I gave it to you. So
that's true. Very true.
So that when they're viral like that, they happen quick. So what happens is usually there's a run on the product,
right?
And it until they're out, and that's happened every time.
It runs its course.
It runs its course, and usually we run out before it runs its course because we're never prepared. Never prepared for it.
I mean, how do you know when?
We never know when it's coming. We never know when it's coming, and we run out, and then a week later, the demand's gone.
Right,
and it's a true spike. It's insane, and I mean, but it can
really
relate
funny,
to thousands.
I mean, they're really great too.
Yeah. Oh no, they're great.
They're really funny. I mean, I laughed.
And we inevitably, for the ones that get enough views, we inevitably reach out to them. We send them some free product.
Right.
We've actually even paid somebody to make another one, but it doesn't work. It never works out.
Authentic. No, it's not.
It's not as authentic. Right.
And it's funny. Something on a much smaller level happened to me the other day. One of my one of the hairstylists at Salons by JC texted me and said, I've got to thank you so much for the social media push you've been giving us. It really worked. You shared a post so fast. I just was blown away how fast that you shared it and supported me. And I got 7 new clients from that post.
That's right.
Now, that's an insane number of clients if you think about someone getting a hair done, spending anywhere between, $50, $40 on a blowout, all the way up to $200 for cut and color.
Right.
You get kind of the value.
And that's a very localized area. My stuff, it's online. You can buy it anywhere in the country. They got to be within 15, 20 miles of that store.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's great.
I'm amazed by when we were looking through your website, I'm amazed by all the retailers that, you do business with.
Mm-hmm.
You're in Home Depot and Lowe's and Dick's. And of course, Amazon's got to be such a tremendous partner for you. I saw on the website, I think you're an Amazon sponsor or Amazon seller, or I forget what they call
it.
We're
a vendor.
Okay. You were highlighted with them. I want to just, we're going to finish up here on our last episode. We did something called the reverse resume, where I learned this trick from an old Navy SEAL friend who spoke to some of my networking and YPO groups. And what he likes to do is kind of take someone's resume and all the great things. And he says, all right, well, that's great. We all put our best foot forward, but tell me how you really screwed up. Tell me what the big failure was. So we talked earlier about your tipping point, and clearly kind of that aha moment, when Dave said to you, hey, could this work? And he was solving the problem for his neck.
Mm-hmm.
But what can you share with us a moment through the past 10 years where, you had a big failure or you made a big mistake,
sure.
and then how did you change course quickly, or how did you correct that so it didn't bring you down?
Well, we've had I did touch on the fact that we've had a couple products that did not work out.
Yes, but you didn't go into detail. You didn't give me the good stuff on those.
Well, so our first one so here's what I learned. When we started out, there was very little barrier to entry for beach chairs because no one really cared about a brand.
Gotcha.
No, I mean, I think our brand has made some nice headway since we've started, but when we started, like, no one had a brand. There was no Tommy Bahama Rio wasn't even licensing Tommy Bahama.
Margaritaville, sure, yeah.
Yeah, Margaritaville. There was no brand. So we had a chair. It was different. It was new. And people didn't care that it said Ostrich or wouldn't have cared if it said anything.
Gotcha.
And they bought it. So our biggest mistake was not realizing that fact. So we pivoted, not really pivoted, but we branched out and made a backpack. This was in 2007, 2008. And we made this backpack, which had every bell and whistle. Really.
The best beach backpack ever.
It was a backpack that folded into a seat. We called it the pack seat. We have got an iteration of the pack seat now, which is a string bag, much lower scale, much less money. And we said, we're going to make the best backpack ever. So it had a thing for the camelback. It had a port. It had a thing for your headphones. It had a cell phone thing. It had a little insulate. It had everything. And then we realized that we weren't Under Armour and we weren't JanSport and we weren't Nike. It didn't have a Nike brand on it. It didn't have LL Bean. And nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
It was the best backpack. Nobody cared. Nobody would buy it. And we, without realizing that, made them. We didn't run around with a sample and say, we didn't run around with a sample and say, would you buy this? Would you buy this? We made them first. So we made 2,000 of them.
Oh boy.
Did it connect to the chair?
How do you mean connect to the chair?
I don't know. You connect to the backpack and you can walk on.
No, it was just
maybe that's the missing link. Maybe that's the missing hook. It was a
backpack that folded into a seat. So I actually was on TV with that. I was on a little competitor called The Big Idea with Donnie Deutsch. So I was on, and that's why I brought up the car.
Funny.
And they loved it on that show. I mean, and that was a nationally aired show. And they're like, just wait for the Deutsch effect. That's what they kept telling you. Wait for the Deutsch effect.
Okay.
Well, the Deutsch effect
moment.
The Deutsch effect was a bunch of PR reps trying to get me to give them money to support it. It was nobody trying to buy it. So that's what happened. So
you lost a whole bunch of money on that.
I learned, and the biggest thing I learned from that was never go into a real production on something that you don't know will sell. So now we make new stuff now, and we actually have an incredible relationship with our manufacturer. So I can make 100 chair run of something.
Smaller batch, to test it.
Right. And he'll do it. And we don't spend much money on development because he eats a lot of that cost because he knows that if we have something that's going to go, he'll make money on it because
you have good scale. Sure.
We've got the relationship now. Back then the relationship was newer. And so we sort of they wouldn't really tinker with us unless we agreed to an order quantity. So that was really the thing we learned. We really have to test the market, or at least approach the market with an idea before we decide to go into a big run. And then, I didn't get rid of those. We didn't liquidate the balance of those until, I don't know, a year and a half ago.
That was going to be my question. Do we still have the backpacks?
How long did it take to sell through?
Challenge accepted. Do we still have the backpacks?
We don't have the backpacks. I have some.
I do marketing. I'm like, challenge accepted. Give me some of these backpacks.
Go back to the website and check out the pack seat.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Current back seat.
bring up the website.
Yep.
In all
Garrett,
fairness,
I believe you might have one or two of those.
it has adapted into a backpack. I mean, there are, and it's not just Adam's company, but there are other people that have this backpack, beach chair, which totally makes a ton of sense if you live 5 blocks from the beach or whatever, you want to walk to the beach.
We make those too. Okay, right there. See it? That's the newer iteration. That's more of a string bag.
Yeah, string. I see that.
Okay, so Garrett, you should have one of those if I remember correctly. Didn't you?
I think Jessica may have worked on those.
Ramaclay bought those from me.
You know what? Oh man, I got to think if I have one.
You
of those.
have one.
You guys ran out of black, so I can't get it. Sorry.
Well, because actually, those were
sure if we were there that year.
Those were just purchased by Dick's, so you can find them in Dick's Sporting Goods now.
Nice.
Cool. But you do have the seats, Adam, that it's like a backpack and you just throw it over your back and walk to the beach, right?
That's that. Oh, you mean the beach chairs? Yes.
Yeah, the beach chairs.
Yes. So as when we actually have 3 or 4 models that have the backpack on them. That you see the one at the top there.
Let's see.
Yeah.
This is a backpack.
The one that says pre-order. We're actually sold out of those. That is our next big hit. That's the 3-in-1 backpack chair.
3-in-1 backpack.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
a really
backpack
nice
too. Wow.
Yeah, that one's a backpack.
Okay.
We
so
also
you can pre-order this now. Okay, cool.
I'll show you. As I said, Dave's the creative person, but I'm going to show you the one thing that was my idea. If you go to,
direct me.
Is it the golf ball holder?
Close. Go to the deluxe on your back chair.
Okay, deluxe on your back
So go
chair.
back to the shop.
Yeah, that's fine. Or you can search it. Scroll down, you'll see it. Scroll. It's right.
One?
It's
Deluxe?
one middle left. No, that's the backpack chaise. Scroll up. Right there.
This one.
Yes, that one.
Okay, let's see.
All right, scroll down.
Your back. Oh,
okay. Look at the picture of the umbrella.
This one.
No way. Let's see.
See that? The umbrella.
Wow.
Oh.
That was my idea.
Nice job.
Whoa! It took a long time to get to one of your ideas, Adam.
Okay.
only an hour and some odd into it.
It took 12 years.
12 years. So how did you come up with that? How did you come up with adding the umbrella?
Well, clearly
in the shower,
from the umbrella holder.
Night?
It's clearly from the umbrella holder on your golf bag, Garrett.
There it is.
That's how I came up with it.
Dougie, I'm giving you a heads up on that picture there.
Oh yeah, that's coming up right now. Here we go.
All right, so quick transition.
Yep.
Let's go over a couple golf tips real quick because I'm new to golf and you've been very.
I do know you're new to golf.
I've almost hit you a couple times.
Twice.
So talk to me. Just give me the quick reminders. I've got belly over the ball, but if I can only remember 3 things, Adam, what are the 3 things you want me to remember?
It's your belly. Keep your belly button from moving, right? That was the tip I gave you. And that was when we finally started to hit it a little bit, remember?
Okay.
And
so belly on the ball.
Head down and your left arm straight. Remember, left arm straight.
Yes. Yeah. I was working on that. Keep the left arm straight.
And that's it.
Okay. Perfect.
We'll work up when you start hitting. When you start and get away from that four hybrid.
Oh come on, that's my magic club. The 4 hybrid. That thing solves
everything. You can't hit a 4 hybrid from on a 135-yard hole.
I can hit a 4 hybrid on every hole. That's like my stuffed animal I grew up with sleeping with.
I know.
How do you stop the slice? All my balls go to the left. They all go to the left.
I don't know.
I'm a lefty. They all.
Here's your tip.
Yes, please.
Dougie gets 1 tip.
I get one. That's all I need.
You only need 1 tip.
I just need to go straight. That's all I need.
That tip is come down with your left. Or you're a righty, correct?
I'm a lefty.
Come down with your right shoulder.
Come down.
Right shoulder. No. When you're swinging, lead with your right shoulder. Right shoulder through the ball, and that'll stop the fade.
Right shoulder. Down.
Yeah. No. Okay. So take your stance. You're a lefty.
Okay. Yes.
So when you swing, I imagine what you do is you push forward with your left arm to swing.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
Right, because you're a lefty.
Uh-oh.
So you're pushing with your left arm to swing. What you want to be doing is pulling with your right shoulder to swing.
Pulling. All right.
And that'll swing out. Right, and swing out. Not
Want to go golfing this weekend, Garrett?
No,
You know?
I can't go golfing on the weekends.
It's too frustrating.
No, it's not my membership category. You have to call Adam to go golfing on the weekends. All right, so we're going to finish up. Every guest of the Get Up with Garrett show gets to enter the lightning round where we ask the same 4 questions to everybody. Okay.
Hit me.
And so we're gonna tee you up with a couple questions. You tell me when you're ready, Dougie.
I am ready.
All right, Adam, tell me one of your favorite business books that you'd recommend to somebody.
Oh, the 4-hour work week.
4-hour work week, good one.
Nice.
Okay, number 2. You know I always post vanity plates on my Instagram.
Oh.
So if you had a vanity plate, Adam, what would it be on your car?
Let me just say I would not have a vanity plate, but
Okay.
if I did, it would have to say DLTSS.
There you go. Okay, if you were to go to outer space, who would you trust more to take you there, Bezos or Branson?
Branson.
And last question, what's a goal that you want me to remind you of a year from now that you're working on?
I don't know. Goal that in 1 year, pick up one more big account. One more big account. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm writing it down so I can.
All right. Remind me in a year.
Well, that's it. Adam has been an incredible guest and friend. We appreciate hearing the story of resilience. I mean, I took so much from Adam. I mean, I've heard some of the story over the years, being friends with his family.
Mm-hmm.
But he really kind of, your brother. When I met your brother, he said, Adam took a gamble. I think what he meant was he kind of went for it. Like you didn't necessarily have a specific background in engineering, like we talked about, or you didn't work for bikini.com or something. And your friend showed you this drawing, and you kind of went for it. You put it out there, and you took a risk. Financially, emotionally, it took time away from friends, family. You kind of deferred the gratification. You didn't go out drinking with all your buddies all night. You went back to the garage and packed up the boxes. So, there's a lot of entrepreneurial traits that I think Adam has expressed, in the podcast, and I think we can all learn from that. And appreciate you as a friend, and really appreciate you as a business person and learning the story. And thanks for spending some time with us today.
My pleasure. It was a lot of fun.
Good time. We'll see you soon, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Right.
Say hi to everybody for me. You got it.
Adam needs to write a book. Adam needs a book. I mean, there is a similar. The only person else that has a similar story is the Nike story kind of thing. That I forgot what the book's called, but Adam definitely needs a book.
I think it's called Shoe Dog.
Yes,
by Phil
something
Knight.
Like that. Yeah, something like that.
Definitely, my mother-in-law gave that to me. As a gift.
I got it too.
It's a great story.
We need Adam's version. We need Adam's book, and I think his license plate should be like head down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he picked the LLC name.
Head down
for the license plate. Head down. I mean, that pillow. Or maybe like my pillow as a pillow. Yeah. I mean, that was so funny. Or I thought he'd go with like beach chair or something good, or sand on my toes.
H3. You have to have like you incorporate some numbers. H3DON maybe head down.
It's a great story. And the other thing about his story is it didn't take forever. It was like kind of a year or two, or I think it was, he said 3 years, to be making money, but it was only maybe in that first kind of year where he was able to actually get manufacturing in China. Imagine today a friend saying to you with what's going on in the world, oh yeah, I'm going to fly over to China. I've got an appointment with one manufacturer. We're going to go build some chairs. I mean, people would laugh at you. They would absolutely laugh at you. Yeah. And he just kept his head down, and he knew his pricing, and he knew the price of each piece of the fabric and the screws. And, he negotiated, and when he wasn't happy, he kind of walked away for the rest of the day, and he said, I'm going to go back. So it was a great story. So that's all I got for you, Dougie. I appreciate you setting us up.
A great episode. You're on a roll, man.
I'm very thankful for everyone watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. I think even some
everywhere.
Instagram on the Garret Gram.
Yes, the Garret Gram
is alive and well. So we will see you in a couple weeks, and look forward to getting back, and appreciate everybody getting up with Garret today.